Hello everyone, welcome to today's video where I'll be talking about Calibur 6. Now, as I'm sure most of you know, there was an online beta for the game that went on this past weekend, and I just wanted to offer my thoughts and opinions about how the beta went. So I do have some experience with the Calibur series. My first Calibur game was 3. But honestly, I never learned how to play the game properly because I didn't have much of an opportunity to play against other people. Now, the point of this video is to give some perspective to the people who didn't have an opportunity to play the beta, like maybe you're a PC player, or maybe you just couldn't find the time to interact with the beta. So hopefully you'll be able to get something interesting out of this video. So with that, I'd like to start talking about the online experience. Since this was a network test beta, we obviously have to talk about whether or not the online worked. Okay, so first things first, the matchmaking in the game. It was quite a strange experience at first. If you put your settings for finding your opponents to the optimal setting, like for example connection to 4 bars plus and the region to be the same as yours, it would take quite a long time for you to get a match. Actually, it would take an unacceptably long time to get a match. But when you lower your settings to be basically accept anything, then you would get matches pretty fast, and I would say that overall the experience was good despite this. Now, most people are afraid to lower their settings like that. I know some people who, even after I would tell them to do it, they were still afraid to do it. But yeah, despite that, the matches overall were okay. I would say at least 90% of the matches were fine for me, with only a few having some noticeable lag or anything. But of course, if you're putting your settings down that much, then obviously it does open you up to having more matches that are subpar. So I'm hoping this is something that they'll fix before release. Now, something else to note, it was sometimes matching me up with people who are really far away, specifically Japan. I fought maybe 3 to 5 Japanese players. The connection still held up. It was actually surprisingly good. Okay, so now let's talk about the ranking system in the game. It's based on letters. Okay, so first off, you start as being unranked. You have a little picture there of a sapling, so let's call it sapling rank. You start off with the sapling rank and you gain points to go into G5. Okay, so every rank goes in the order of S, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like the alphabet, like you'd expect, and every rank has 5 divisions. So the ranking system is easy to understand, and a good thing about it is that every character has their unique rank. So if you want to try a new character after you've leveled up some of your main ones, you'll be starting from sapling again. So that's a good thing to take note of. Okay, while the ranking system is easy to understand, we have to talk about the point gain, like how you go through the divisions and increase your rank. At first, going from sapling to G5 is very easy and very fast. And going from G5 to F5, I thought took a decent amount of time. Yeah, it didn't feel too long or too short to me. But going on from there, from F5, the point gain felt very low. Like it was really slow just to go up a division. So I can't even imagine how many matches you'd have to play to get to S. Yeah, that's the ultimate goal. I really cannot imagine how long it would take someone to get to S1 if they keep the current point gain. But something that you should know about is the expert bonus. Now, this is something that as you have a win streak, as you gain a bigger win streak, you get an expert bonus. Now, this multiplies. It's a multiplier that adds on to the points that you've gained for your wins. So effectively, people who are really skilled, people who are already really good at the game, should be finding themselves climbing faster out of it. So if you're able to get win streaks, it should be easier for you than someone who, you know, wins loses in such a fashion. But even saying that, I talked to one of my some people I know, some of whom were already in the E ranks, and they told me even with a 30 plus win streak, they felt like they were progressing very slowly. So this might be something that needs to be looked at a bit more before the game's release. Okay, now I'd like to talk about reversal edge, a mechanic that to say the least is controversial in this game. A lot of the people that I've talked to don't like it at all. They really despise it. Basically it's the forefront of their argument is that basically you're playing rock paper scissors for potentially huge damage, which actually it's a fair thing to it's a fair assessment. Personally, I don't have an issue with the mechanic itself, but I do have an issue with the damage values that are tied to it. Like as they were saying, the damage that you can get from this thing sometimes is just too high. So I think the results of a reversal edge need to be toned down, like reduce their overall damage, maybe make it so that you can't be ringed out by a reversal edge, because that happened to me, and while I laughed about it, I'm sure most people would not be happy about that. And maybe make it so that the result of a reversal edge can't kill. Like the initial strike of a reversal edge won't kill, but the results can. So I think winning off basically guessing, and not just guessing really, but putting your opponent in a position that they also have to guess by force. Like sometimes it feels like you didn't really earn it. So I think that's something that might lessen the current hate that the mechanic is getting. Probably another thing that is contributing to this hatred of the reversal edge is that it's being spammed quite a bit by people. When you meet someone who maybe isn't very familiar with the game, they can spam this thing quite a bit, and when you don't know how to deal with it, it gets annoying. It's really annoying, and it will kill you. I myself have gotten cheesed by this a few times, but once you get used to it and figure out how to navigate your way around it, I don't think it's so bad. The players who rely on it too much, I don't think that they'll find themselves climbing quickly. I think they'll hit a wall very fast, because the players who are more aware, like they're good at sidestepping and such, they'll destroy them. So I do understand why people don't like this mechanic, especially as I was saying at first, the damage values and the forcing of a guess into either huge damage or a kill. It feels kind of unfair at times. Yeah, I can understand those aspects, but I think if they do some tuning to it, I think it won't be such a problem for anyone anymore. Okay, so now I'd like to talk about some characters. Let me start with who I played. As you can tell from the footage, I was playing a lot of Sophitia, and I played her so much that basically I think I'll be dedicated to her. When the game comes out, I'll be maining her. So for those of you who are also interested in Sophitia, I think she's good. She's a kind of well-rounded character. She doesn't really have a very big weakness, but at the same time she doesn't have an area where she's untouchable in. So she's a very rounded character. If I were to compare her to another character in another game, for those of you who have played Guilty Gear, she's like Kai. If you've played Guilty Gear, you know what I'm talking about. Kai doesn't really have an area where he's really lacking, but at the same time he's not a monster in any one thing. Yeah, so that's kind of what Sophitia is like. Additionally, honestly, she's very easy to get a handle on. At the start of the beta, which was on Friday, I didn't know anything about Sophitia. In previous games I played Cassandra, so the sword and shield style isn't new to me, but I didn't know anything about Sophitia's moves. But I was able to learn what she can do pretty fast, enough for me to get the rank up to F5 on the same day. So she's easy to get a handle on, especially if compared to like for example, I tried Tira, but Tira is quite hard. I think you'll need to get her in the practice room for quite some time before you're able to be comfortable with her. Okay, so two characters that I'd also like to talk about, who established themselves as the public enemies in this beta, are Ivy and Nightmare. No matter who you talk to, these characters are infamous. they really did a number on people during the beta, myself included. I didn't have many problems with Nightmare, but Ivy, Ivy feels very strong in this game right now. I felt like getting in on her alone, I felt like was quite an issue. Of course, she does fold. She isn't as good up close as she is from range, but her ranged game is very good. Like getting in on her, I felt was very hard. It was not straightforward by any means. Just to talk about a move that she has, for example, her 6-6A when you hold the A button. This move has such huge range that it can hit you from practically anywhere, and in addition it lethal hits you if you are moving at the time. So even trying to navigate around her moves to close in might be a bit risky if you notice that she's prone to using that move, and she does use it a lot. The range is very good. There is no reason not to use that. As for Nightmare, he's basically the same. I don't know that to call it issue. No, it's not really an issue, but you know what I mean. He can hit you from quite far away, and unlike Ivy, one hit from Nightmare hurts a lot. So that's another issue that people are having. Nightmare just beasts them from far away, and he does it for quite a bit of damage, and to many people it felt like he was too safe when he was doing that. But like I said, personally I didn't have a problem with Nightmare, but instead I did have a problem with Siegfried. Quite a number of Siegfrieds, they kicked my ass. Yeah, so make of that what you will, but just take note of that. Ivy and Nightmare right now, among many people, they are considered to be painful to go up against, so keep that in mind for the release of the game. Okay, with people talking about those two characters so much, it brought up the question of whether there'll be balances done in the 2 weeks leading up to the game's release. Like, I know some Ivy players are kind of afraid that she'll get nerfed during this time, and there are people who are actually calling for nerfs to some characters already. But I don't know, it feels premature and kind of a knee-jerk response to me. Like, what are we, day -20 or something? I think it's too soon to make such decisions, especially when we haven't seen what all the characters are capable of. Remember, we only had 15 characters available in the beta, and there are 22 in total right now. So those are 7 whole characters who we don't have a big idea on. We might actually find that there are people much worse than Ivy hiding in the shadows right now. Okay, just to conclude my thoughts, I am very happy with how the game is turning out. I had a lot of fun playing it. Like, the thought of playing another game during that weekend didn't even enter my head. Like, even now, I haven't played another fighting game. I'm just fantasizing about playing Sophitia again. So in general, I'm happy, but like I said, a lot of people have issues with especially Reversal Edge and some characters. So it's not a 100% this game is incredible thing, but of course that can't happen. There's no way you can please everyone with any game. So but I would say that for me personally, overall, I liked it, and I'm going to get it day one, and I foresee myself playing it for a long time in the future. Yeah, so that's going to do it for the video today. But I'd just like to talk about some upcoming things that I'll be doing. I thought that it would be beneficial of me to post up some matches that I had during the beta. Again, the point of this is hopefully to help those who didn't have a chance to get their feet wet with it, to maybe see how it goes from the perspective of someone who also didn't have much of an idea of what they were doing. I can tell you that when I started, I was getting by just mashing B. That was my favorite button for quite a while. But yeah, if you're interested in Sophitia particularly, I'll be posting some of my matches, and I'm also considering doing a video just breaking down some of her moves, how to use them as far as I found in the beta, how to use them, what they do, such like things. So yeah, please look forward to that. And yeah, I think that's it for today. I'll see you guys again next time. Please take care of yourselves, have a good day, and see you in the next video.